everybody, I'm Rebecca Keppel and I am here with two new cards that is made from the brand new Tsukineko Jar of Love Shaker Kit. This is the kit for April 2018. It's got tons of supplies inside. It's very springy and fresh, and I want to show you how I made a couple of cards with it. But stay tuned to the end because there is a big giveaway. Okay, I have a piece of pattern paper that is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, a slightly smaller rectangle of white cardstock, and then I cut a little semicircle of some pattern paper to fit right over that white cardstock. It's going to be kind of like the table that my jar is sitting on. I've also cut out a tag, a mason jar topper. These are all dies that came in the kit, and you can see that stamp set there that also comes in the kit. I'm going to make a little pencil line underneath that table and on the sides of the jar just so I know where to stamp my flower stems. I'm going to pull off some of these flower stems and see how they fit on this piece of cardstock and would fit inside the jar. I'm going to use my MISTI with this. So I'm going to put that white cardstock in the corner of the MISTI, and then I'm going to try and line up those stems. You can see that they move around a little bit. So once I grab them with the door of the MISTI, I do adjust the stems again on the door so that they straighten up enough that they're going to have a little bit of curve coming out of the mason jar, but then they'll go down into the mason jar. I want to make sure that they are within the confines of the pencil lines that I drew because that's where my shaker is going to go. And so I want these to appear like they are sitting inside that mason jar. And once I did that, as far as the width, I realized I had them way too high. So they were going to stamp off the top of that white cardstock, and that wouldn't look great at all. So there was a lot of maneuvering that took place to get these guys to look like they were going to be sitting inside that mason jar and would stamp really well on this piece of white cardstock. I can stamp the whole stem because I am going to cover up that bottom with the pattern paper, and then you can see that you'll be able to see the stems inside the mason jar shaker. Now I've picked out some flowers from the same stamp set, and I'm going to pick those all up with my MISTI, and I'm going to stamp them with Distress Oxide inks. I have here, I believe it is Worn Lipstick. Yes, I will link all the colors that I use and the supplies that I use down below. So I inked it up with Worn Lipstick, and then I went in with Spiced Marmalade and just inked the bottom. So they have kind of this fun two-tone effect that I thought was different and pretty and springy and worked well with this card. I'm going to use a white eraser to get rid of those pencil lines. And then I'm going to use some Therm Memory Runner XL to adhere the little tablecloth to the bottom of the white cardstock, and then to adhere that white cardstock to the pattern paper. I'm going to punch out the middle of the foam shape, and then I'm going to peel off the backing and lay it down on my stems so that it looks like they're coming out of the jar. Next, I'm going to add some of the shakers inside. I have the clear ones and the tiny little wood veneers. Then I'm going to pull off the top protective layer and add the acetate piece, which is die cut for you. So it all comes perfectly made in the kit. You don't have to do any of the die cutting of the acetate. I did die cut the jar and that little piece of pretend fabric that will go underneath the jar and the tag. So the next thing I'm going to do is grab a sentiment from the stamp set. You can see all the sentiments are these mini sentiments. They fit perfectly on these little tags. They also fit on the little heart-shaped tag as well. So this sentiment says filled with thanks, and I thought that was perfect for this little jar shaker. I have some of the gray and white baker's twine, and I'm going to actually wrap it underneath that shaker a little bit. You can just lift it up just a touch. You don't want to pull it all the way up so that your shaker goodies come out, but just a touch so that I can tie it around the neck of the jar. And I'm going to knot that and give a little loop there. And I have my tag looped into that twine as well. I adhered that little faux fabric piece to the jar lid, and then I'm going to put the jar lid on the jar. And the next thing I'm going to do is just grab a little adhesive dot to keep my tag in place. Now this panel is done. I'm going to adhere it to a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch top folding note card, and one of our cards is done. Super fast, super easy, and super, super cute, I think. Okay, so for the next card, I have, again, some pattern paper and some white cardstock. I punch out the center of that shaped shaker piece, that's that foam piece, and then I adhere it down to my card. And the next thing that I'm going to do is fill up my shaker. This time I'm going to use a bunch of the little flower pieces. This kit comes with a number of tiny little shakers shaped like little daisies, and they come in a bunch of different colors. And I wanted to mimic the rainbow that is in the pattern paper in the back there. So I wanted to have a rainbow of little flowers. So I have some pinks, some yellows, some lime greens, some blues, and the whites. And I think that just rainbow effect is a lot of fun. So once I have them all spread out, I'm going to remove that top protective layer on the foam. Remember that foam is double-sided. And I'm going to add my acetate. Again, that is pre-die cut for you. I did die cut out the mason jar this time from some pattern paper instead of the white cardstock. It's kind of a gray polka dot, so it's a basic neutral. And that will cover up that white foam in the foam shaker. Next, I did die cut this time the little heart tag, so I'm going to pick a different tiny sentiment to stamp inside. For stamping on pattern paper, I like to use VersaFine black onyx ink. I feel like I get a really nice deep black impression when I use that ink, especially when I'm stamping over pattern paper. It is a pigment ink, so you do have to let it dry a little bit. This time I did cut the mason jar lid from some silver foil cardstock, but I did not cut the little piece of fabric that would go underneath. I decided to just do the jar lid. I'm going to tie the twine, which is pink and white this time, around the lid itself a number of times. This way I can wrap it, and I'm going to put my little heart tag right in that twine and knot it off. I'm going to add some tape runner to the back of that so I can adhere it to my little mason jar. And then I'm going to make 2 little loops out of the tails here so that I can tie a little bow as well. The sentiment that I stamped for this card says, "I cannot contain my gratitude." So I thought it would be fun to adhere some of the large flower sequins as if they were spilling out of the jar, because you cannot contain them. So I'm just laying down some of these large flower sequins, and I'm going to use some Therm mixed media adhesive to adhere them. You definitely need some type of strong liquid adhesive because these are larger sequins, and some of them have a slight cupping to them. So you want to make sure that you get the side that's going to press down on the paper, and make sure you use enough of your liquid adhesive that they're not going to go anywhere, especially if you put them through the mail. So I have my Therm mixed media adhesive in a fine tipped applicator bottle because I like to do things like this where I'm really adhering tiny little bits. But you can see that I do use a significant amount just because, like I said, I want to make sure that these stay stuck down if I mail this. I thought it would also be fun to adhere a few of the little teeny tiny flowers that I have inside the shaker above. Again, like they're kind of just spilling out of this mason jar because they cannot be contained. So again, I'm using that fine tipped applicator. This time, instead of putting the adhesive on the back of the sequin or the topping, I'm just putting a dot of adhesive down and then laying that little teeny tiny flower on top. With such a small embellishment like this, I feel like this is absolutely perfect. Next, I grabbed some of the rhinestones. These are self-adhesive that come in the kit, and these are the clear ones. I put one of the tiny ones on the tag there, and then I lined up some of the larger rhinestones right on the mason jar lid. I just thought that was kind of a fun blingy effect for that mason jar lid. Since I wasn't using the little die cut faux fabric piece, I thought this added a nice little touch as well. So that pretty much completes this card panel. So now all I have to do is use some tape runner to adhere it down to a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch top folding note card. And again, you can see how fast it is to complete these really springy, pretty fresh cards using this kit. Okay, for the giveaway, I don't have a complete kit for you, but I have almost everything in a kit. I have the container, I have a 6x6 paper pad, and you can see all the pretty floral and rainbow designs that come in it. It's called FLIRTY Florals. I have all the dies from this kit, and I have the foam shapes, the mason jar shapes, and the acetate pieces. You can see that the dies cut the mason jar, the lid, the little fabric, and 2 different tags, the regular tag and the heart tag, which cut the hole for the tags as well to tie them on. I have a complete stamp set. It has all the stems, flowers, hearts, sentiments, and you can see how they all fit on those little tags as well. This is a packed stamp set. It's got a ton of designs on it, and you could use it even alone rather than with the kit itself. I also have all the baker's twine. There's yellow and pink and gray and green. And then I have a bunch of toppings. I have the clear diamonds. I have the flower shapes in pink and yellow and blue and lime green. And I have some of the wood shapes. The stars and the hearts are included. So everything that you saw there is in this giveaway. All you have to do is subscribe and comment below that you subscribed. Make sure to leave your email address if I can't find it easily through your YouTube channel. And also, this giveaway is only open to US subscribers. I am sorry about that, but it's just really expensive for me to have to pay the shipping. I want to let you know that all the supplies will be linked down below if you're interested in those. You can subscribe to my channel here, click on the link for my blog, and check out a couple of other videos that you might be interested in. I want to thank you so much for stopping by today. Be sure to enter the giveaway, and I will see you again soon.